I would like to begin by welcoming our mentors. Let's first welcome Augment Ventures, Sonali Vijayvargiya. Welcome, Sonali. Somehow we missed out on your theme music there. That wasn't, let's see if we can do better for this next one. Let's welcome Scott Taylor.
Celebration, toast to the most beautiful girl in the world, my inspiration. Thanks for the information, mama, I made it.
All right, next up we have Ann Arbor Sparks, Bill Mayer. Welcome, Bill.
Judge me now, one shot, everything rides on tonight. Even if I got 3 strikes.
And our fourth mentor, Detroit Venture Partners, Jake Cohen. Welcome, Jake.
Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
All right, so over the past couple of weeks, the teams that you saw on the stage a couple weeks ago have been working hard on customer discovery. They're trying to understand who their customers are and what value that they can create for them. So they are here today to try to convince their mentors and you that they have made progress in understanding their current and potential customers, that they can create value for their customers. They're here to validate their progress. They're here to demonstrate the entrepreneurial spirit and show a commitment to launching their ventures. And so, of course, that's no easy task, and we didn't leave them just on their own for that. We brought in CFE's Executive Director, Jonathan Fay, who also runs the National Innovation Core Expert. He led them in a customer discovery workshop to help them understand who their stakeholders are for their ventures and who their customers are, and taught them how to go about connecting with them to understand those opportunities for them. So today the teams are going to come to the stage. They're going to have 2 minutes to present, and then 1 minute for question and answer. And during that 2 minutes and that 1 minute of question and answer, again, their opportunity and what they're trying to do is convince us that they have made progress and that they are one of the teams that should go on to the next round. After all 13 teams have presented, then each mentor will pick one team, one startup from their group to automatically advance to the next round. And then the audience, you, will have the chance to vote on the remaining 4 teams to see who goes on. So in total, we'll have 8 teams that advance to the 3rd round of the startup, 4 picked by the mentors and 4 picked by you. And so, without further ado, it's time to start hearing from our teams, from our ventures. The first startup today, we'll like to welcome out SpecOp.
Women sometimes can't get their annual pelvic exam done in clinic because doctors can't see what they need to. We're SpecOp, and we've developed the Circulum, a vaginal speculum, to ensure that doctors do. So during our customer discovery, the customers that first came to mind were patients and doctors, and we got a lot of feedback on the speculum itself. Patients said it was cold, uncomfortable, and doctors said it often required additional instruments to use. We dug a bit deeper, and this is what we found for our customer workflow. We start with the patient who goes into her OBGYN for an annual exam. If the doctor can't do the procedure necessary, they send that patient to the operating room where nurses, surgeons, and residents all use the speculum to perform the procedure. That used speculum is then sent to the sterilization team to be cleaned for reuse, and hospital administration oversees all those interactions. So we were able to talk to a variety of people in the different customer segments to get a better understanding of this customer flow, as well as how our device would fit into this. So with our device, a doctor would be able to perform a complete routine exam in clinic without having to send the patient to the operating room. OR schedules are quite tight, so we'd be able to improve the turnaround time for other procedures. Our speculum is also Our speculum is also disposable, so it wouldn't have to be re-sterilized. And after talking to doctors and nurses, we learned that our device could be used in many other procedures, especially in the OR, where there's a lot of people in a very tight space. And because ours is hands-free, we'd be able to eliminate extra hands for the procedure. So through our conversation, we learned that our market is actually much bigger than we initially thought. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you. All right, and you can stay here for a minute. Questions, comments from the judges, from the mentors.
So, step up as a great team, and the thing that I liked about this particular team was they went on a customer discovery and they had an open mind, and in the process they found new customers and how the device could be used. So I like the team's enthusiasm and open mindedness to explore other avenues to make this product widely available, widely used.
Looks like, Bill, you have something to add?
So how many discovery interviews did you do?
So during this 2-week period, we did 20 full interviews, no surveys, just really talking to doctors, nurses who work in the OR, people who work at medical device companies. We talked to people working in hospital administration, dealing with scheduling, purchase orders. Am I missing anyone? Yeah. Yeah.
And some surgeons too.
And what did you find was the biggest roadblock for this to be bought and paid for by the health systems as opposed to the traditional speculums?
So the main thing we found is, so we were initially targeting women who are very obese, and this is where the problem is often seen. So that market itself is quite small, but after talking to these doctors and nurses, they said that they could see our device being able to be used in OR procedures like hysterectomy.
All right, it looks like time's up for Spec Op, but thank you. We appreciate your presentation here. So keep in mind, again, as each of these teams, as each of these startups present, that you should be tracking in your mind which ones you think best meet those requirements that we set forth. All right, so let's now welcome another medical device team, AimTech. Welcome, AimTech.
Hey everyone, I'm Aaron. I'm a second-year MBA here at Michigan, and I'm excited to give you a quick update on AimTech. I want to start reminding you of a staggering statistic you heard last round. That's over 1 million infants that die every year due to severe respiratory illness, and over 99% of those deaths occur in low to middle income countries. So at AimTech, we've developed our patent-pending award-winning NeoVent, which is a new type of infant ventilator, which is easy to use, low cost, and doesn't require continuous electricity, solving many of the problems that our co-founder Stephen witnessed firsthand volunteering in Nepal at a hospital. Over the last year, our team has traveled over 100,000 miles talking to over 1,000 clinicians about the need for this device. We've talked to doctors in Burundi, a respiratory therapist in Kenya, and nurses in Nepal, and all of them have seen the NeoVent as a breakthrough device that can help them save lives, and some of them are actually already asking to purchase it. Since round one, we've spent time really trying to dig in and understand this space better by talking to companies who know it really well. People like a medical device manufacturer in India, a medical device distributor in Nepal, and a major US healthcare company, Medtronic. And all of these companies are really excited about the potential for NeoVent and see it also as a breakthrough that could help us save lives. All the people that we've talked to, they all recognize the potential for NeoVent to bring safe, simple, effective, low-cost respiratory therapy to the masses. And with your help, we hope to save thousands of lives, one breath at a time. Thanks.
All right. Scott, what do you have to add?
Thank you. What impressed me with you guys is rather than going out and just quickly making a bunch of phone calls, you found some groups that are willing to go out and do some customer discovery. And well, that may, for students, usually be looked down upon as getting others to do your work. For someone building a company, that's an essential skill, is to maximize your time by getting others to do work for you. So I was impressed with that. And my one question for you is, I know you've explored a lot in the international markets. What have you learned about the value of your product in the US market?
Right, so in talking to Medtronic, that's his company that based here in the US, one of our key questions for them was, this device was designed for emerging markets, but is there demand for this type of product here in the US? And what we're learning is that respiratory therapists here in the US, they actually want simpler, lower cost, and equally as effective treatments, and we think that Neovent could help meet that need.
All right, thank you, AIM Tech.
Down the front.
We'll now welcome Purely.
Hey everyone, we're Purely. We aim to reduce water usage in Ann Arbor by giving people coupons to local restaurants and donating to charities. So, over the past couple weeks, we've been connecting with over 300 people through surveys, interviews, and focus groups. We were testing two main hypotheses on how willing people were to change their daily habits. Initially, most people were very willing to reduce their water usage, but when incentivized with coupons, this number jumped by 20%. Both our hypotheses were proven true, but then we noticed something interesting. We initially assumed our target market would be people who were very passionate about water conservation. Turns out we were wrong. In fact, 83% of the people who were not using water conservatively were the ones mainly interested in our service. But we also want to look beyond the numbers. So we held focus groups to spark open discussion. There, people were initially skeptical about how their lifestyle change can bring about a big impact. But Shreya, one of our group members, spoke about her experience in California and emphasized the power of collective effort. This really resonated with a lot of people, and they formed strong connections with our charity efforts.
This connection was also important for our partners. Both Teos and Slurping Turtle mentioned how they support charities and reduce their water usage. We've also been in touch with Robert, a senior consultant at OHM Advisors, a prominent water consulting company. He has connected us with investors and leaders within the water industry. He helped us understand the complexity of our problem. We all may think that we don't have water problems because we're in Michigan, but how many of you knew that Ann Arbor is currently spending millions of dollars fixing up a sewer facility system because the sewer system is at capacity? How about this? 25 to 40% of the city's electricity is used just for water treatment. Clearly, there's a disconnect between us and our water systems. Purely fills this gap. By helping you reduce your water usage, we're shining a light on water issues both at home and abroad. Thank you.
All right.
So I've enjoyed working with this team because they're relentless implementers. I sent them in a couple different directions, and you guys didn't hesitate at all. And I also am really compelled by the fact that I feel like you're really on to the fact that the third utility of water seems to be the utility that is a black box. So, you know, I'm very curious to see where you'll go going forward, but there's something here just due to how disconnected we are with our water consumption.
Any other questions from mentors? Sonali.
So, I have one question for you. In your customer discovery, I know you're linking it to coupons and conservation. Is there any other pain point that you found that will drive people towards whether it was cost or something else?
So we found that people really cared once we mentioned some of the facts about water disparity worldwide. And this was a major selling point for us. In fact, just with that fact alone, people were, they were more willing to change their habits that way.
All right, thank you, Purely. Our next startup is Morning Brew. Welcome, Morning Brew.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Austin Reith, and I am a founder of Morning Brew. Throughout my time spent in the business school, I noticed that business students constantly struggle to enjoy reading the traditional business media sources that are out there. With the Wall Street Journal and New York Times median reader age well into the 40s, millennials just can't connect to these dry and dense media sources. Therefore, I wanted to create an alternative option to connect young business minds to the business world. Morning Brew is a daily email business newsletter written in a conversational and witty tone to engage and educate the young business mind in a quick 5-minute read. Morning Brew has succeeded in both growing our subscriber base and also creating lucrative advertisement deals. So since we've started, we have taken the college market by storm. We have proven that there is a need for a new business source that's catered to a younger demographic. We just surpassed 89,000 subscribers, most of whom who are between 18 and 26, and we are on pace to hit 250,000 subscribers this year. We have also proven this demographic to be very valuable. as a ton of financial institutions and millennial targeted startups have reached out to us about advertising in the Morning Brew. We're on pace to triple our revenue from January to February, doing $9,000 of revenue this month, and we'll continue growing that to hit $200,000 of revenue this year. So with a proven, dedicated, and growing subscriber base, and in the midst of raising $500,000 by notable angel investors like the former CEO of Time Warner Cable, Morning Brew is becoming the go-to media source for the future leaders of the business world.
All right. Jake, Morning Brew is one of your companies. What do you want to add?
Yeah, well, I'll say there's no better customer discovery than having 89,000 subscribers to kind of see how they're responding to your product in the real life, right? If you have the ability to do that, some people, if you're building a medical device, it's a little more difficult to go give it to 89,000 people and figure out how it works. But because you're in a business where you can get the product out there right away without having to invest a lot of money, I think that's the best way to discover what your customers like and don't like. And so definitely applaud you for getting the product out there and seeing how it's working, and it looks like it's working well.
Excellent. Any other questions?
So your 89,000 subscribers, are those paid subscribers?
No, they're free subscribers. We're monetizing through advertisements.
Got it.
So now that you've collected kind of the low-hanging fruit customers, what's your customer acquisition costs moving forward for these harder to reach and harder to acquire customers?
Yeah, so that's one of the things we're working on discovering. We have a campus rep program that's working.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you, Morning Brew. We now welcome Sonali's next team, Grassroots.
All right, so in case you forgot, Grassroots is an app that helps people vote and stay engaged with local politics. So this week, we went out onto the streets and interviewed over 60 people from all walks of life, not just college students. And the results were surprising. We had originally thought that the biggest pain point for voters was the process, that it wasn't transparent enough. But actually, that didn't turn out to be the real issue. Most people were more concerned about transparency with knowing who they were voting for and the preparation process for going out and voting. So our findings broke down to two major categories. So first we found people are really concerned about whether they can trust politicians, whether what they say is actually backed up by what they do. And so we want to empower people in this issue. People are also concerned about how they can actually make an impact. And we were surprised that for every person who didn't care at all about politics that we talked to, there were maybe one or two other people who really wanted to know how to make a difference, but didn't really understand how government actually works. And so again, we want to empower people with the information to really make a difference, not just through social media, but through other avenues such as petitions to the White House or calling your local representatives. So we hope you guys will join us in making democracy easier and more accessible. Thank you.
Sonali, do you have something to add?
So I really think Grassroots is an app for we the people. It tells you how to engage in a political system. It gives you the location, education, and avenue to act. So I think it's a very interesting solution and interesting times.
Any of the other mentors want to add anything? Question?
Yeah, I have a question. Who did you vote for president and why? No, I'm just kidding. No, I think it is. You picked a good time to bring a product to market that when the country is paying attention to this topic. So having a good instinct around when you're not the only person thinking about something, that the country is thinking about it, is a good time to bring a product to market. So nice work on that.
Great.
We still have a couple seconds. During most of the year when people aren't paying attention to voting, how are you making money then?
That's actually a really interesting question. Well, when in the political off-season, there's still lots of bills floating through Congress on important issues. So that's one example of things we can show people.
All right. Double horn. Thank you, Grassroots. Let's now welcome Scott's next team, Kraken. Welcome, Kraken.
133 billion pounds. That's how much food goes to waste in the US every year alone. You could feed all Americans who suffer from food insecurity, not once, but 3 times over. Kraken is changing that. We've partnered with local farms and packaging facilities to collect their quote-unquote ugly fruits and vegetables. I mean, just because you're ugly doesn't mean you should be rejected, too. We believe that we can bring out the best in this food by creating healthy, affordable juice. But you guys want to hear about our customers. We have more than just customers to show you. We've given up our sleep, our homework, and a little bit of our sanity to prove it to you. Let's start with our suppliers. We have 10 different suppliers that we've been talking to, 2 of whom are anxiously waiting to start working with us on our upcoming pilot. Of course, you need places to sell our juice, so we visited 20 different retailers and compiled data on their different juice brands. It's a $5 billion juice industry, and you'd be shocked at the opportunities still available for the right combination of price, flavor, and social awareness. And these sellers need customers. So we interviewed over 107 different people to determine current market interest. 65% of them responded that they care most about juice with great flavor, which is why we're currently working hard to create the right flavor profile. In today's world of social awareness, we have an additional value prop. In every bottle of our juice diverts over 2 pounds of edible food from a landfill, and 1% of our proceeds go towards fighting hunger. We're on a journey to change the world, and with your help, we can do just that. Thank you, and we're ready for questions.
Okay, Scott, what would you like to add?
All right, great job, guys. What I was really impressed with, you guys actually went out and went into stores and hunted down the store managers and forced them to speak with you. And it's one thing to send emails and make phone calls, but to actually go out and get those in-person meetings, that shows a lot of entrepreneurial spirit and hustle. So my one question, we spoke about where's the gap in the market that you're going to fill. So what did you learn along those lines?
So we had a chance to go to the 20 different retailers, and we compiled data from their prices, their not from concentrate, for concentrate, and a couple other factors on all the juice brands, and have identified gaps in the market. And what we're working on now is matching those gaps with our customer discovery to make sure that there's a reason for the gaps and that it's because it's a place that juice is waiting to happen.
Quick one, how do you manage your supply chain? How do you have consistency in your inputs?
Yeah, that's something we're working on, and we're just working with the suppliers that we're creating relationships with right now. It is one of our biggest questions, but one that we're excited to tackle.
All right, great job, Kraken. We'll welcome Bill's next team, Kalisha. Welcome, Kalisha. Right here's your mic.
All right, thank you. All right, hi, we're Kalisha, and we're developing a system for large food and beverage processors. And what we do is, as opposed to them sending their waste to a landfill, we actually take their waste, we feed it to insects, and sell those insects as a protein-based animal feed. It's really cool, and we've really appreciated the challenge of diving into our customers over the course of the past couple of weeks. Now, it's important to know that we have customers on 2 main ends. On the front end, we actually have to sell a system to food and beverage processors. On the back end, we have to move our product to animal feed manufacturers. And actually, as a result of our talks, we've changed our product and revenue structure. Now, I'll first talk on the front end. Now, for food and beverage processors, what we're doing is we're developing this system, and what we've learned is we've actually been talking with a large food and beverage processor, which I can't name, but they do have a market cap of over $100 billion, and they had us submit a proposal to build our first ever commercial scale facility. It's extremely exciting, and what we learned through talking with them is actually that what they want is not us to build, own, and operate it, but they actually want to license our technology from us so that they can own and operate it and more easily scale this portable version throughout their plants. So we actually put together an industrial design team and we migrated our system from a structured greenhouse to a portable shipping container. We're really excited about that. Now on the back end, we've reached out to farmers and large animal feed manufacturers. Now specifically, again, I want to highlight a company called Mad Agriculture. Now they manufacture specialty organic feeds, and they've already committed to buying all of our products at a pre-specified price so that they can then turn around and manufacture that into a high protein feed specifically for chicken farmers in Colorado. So we're really excited about these developments and hope to continue learning. Thank you.
Excellent job, Kalisha.
Good job. So the thing that impresses me about the team in this venture is, not only do you have a scalable business process that seems very relevant, but you guys are really effective at going out and not only doing discovery work, but actually striking deals. So, if this space proves to be as effective as, what we hope, then I'm really excited for the future potential of this, and the business model and your customer acquisition will be much, much easier than some potential paths you could take with this.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a quick question. How important is it for you to get free waste on the front end to feed to the insects to give to the, or is it, because it sounds like what you're producing on the back end is high quality.
Yeah.
And so is it that important you get free stuff on the front end, or are you just going to play around with that and figure out what the best thing is to feed the insects as opposed to what the freest thing is?
So it is important that we get the free stuff, but they're actually paying to send this to landfills right now. So as opposed to them paying, what we're doing is we're taking it for free.
All right.
Thank you.
Excellent. We'll now welcome Jake Cohen's next team, Forza Metrics. Welcome, Forza Metrics.
The digital health revolution has kicked into high gear. 1 in 3 Americans care about their fitness tracking, and they want to know as much as possible about their fitness. Last year, they bought 78 million wearables to help them gather fitness data. But after a few months, most of those wearables, they end up in the drawer, paid for but underutilized. Why? Well, they simply cannot capture the data that counts during a strength training session with any off-the-shelf wearable product. So these devices cannot track the entire gym experience or your entire workout experience. That's why we're creating the Connected Gym, to give you the ability to focus on your workout while letting our products automatically track, store, and analyze your efforts. We do this by retrofitting existing equipment in gyms with IoT connectivity. We're using motion sensing technology, proprietary algorithms, and learnings from physiology. Our solution will guide you to efficiently and affordably achieve your fitness goals. And we've conducted over 50 interviews learning about people's fitness habits and the problems in the fitness industry. Gym owners tell us that they care about getting members results, but the old ways aren't working. They tell us that the future is tech, and that solutions like the one that we're trying to build are what will help them differentiate from the competition. Gym members tell us that the current tracking methods are too much of a hassle, and they interfere with the quality and rhythm of the workout. But they want this data, they just need the right user experience. We've expanded our team to help create the Connected Gym. We have experience in business, law, engineering, and media. Our team already has experience using computer vision and machine learning, and we all have athletic backgrounds in cycling, rugby, and triathlon. So with your help here at the startup, we're going to create the Connected Gym.
Great. Thank you, Forza Metrics. Jake, what would you like to add?
So the thing I probably like most about this company and this team is the team. You have, we said law, business, engineering, so a nice background there. And then in terms of domain expertise, you have kind of a nationally ranked cyclist and a rugby player, and you guys can guess which one's which. But I think that's important because in the customer discovery side, they spent a ton of time talking to trainers who are, on one side training Olympic athletes, on the other side, talking to like Planet Fitness type places. And so knowing the difference between those markets was really important. So nice work, guys.
So I have a question for you. You see the current trend that the gym membership is falling down, and a lot of gyms are actually closing, and individual specialty classes are taking roots. What was your discovery in that field?
Yeah, so a lot of gyms are trying to compete with your Orange Theories and programs like that, and so one effort...
All right, thank you for the metrics. All right, let's now welcome Sonali's next team, Cherivu.
Majority of 263 million farmers in India rely on less than 3 acres of land for their livelihood. 97% of the farmers have never conducted a soil test, and their fertilizer usage is simply based on intuition. After talking to several influential farmers in southern part of India, we got to know that the farmers don't even know what crop is best for them, and weather is very unpredictable. Cheru is trying to address these inefficiencies by providing farm-specific nutrient management advice to small farmers in India. Local research shows that this can increase the yield by 33 to 66% without increasing financial burden on the farmer. We are currently working with 3,600 farmers across 54 villages. Through our model, we got to know that farmers are willing to pay for our service, provided the results are validated.
So apart from farmers, we have our other main customers include seed, fertilizer companies, government, and soil testing laboratories. After talking to 21 companies, 21 seed companies, we understood that they value our data, but they value different crops differently. This has led us a crop-specific approach. These seed companies are also interested in advertising through our network. So one of the fertilizer company's executives told us that the local fertilizer dealer market their fertilizer based on the margin that they get and not based on what farmers want. So these fertilizer companies understand that this is not sustainable for the long term. So they are ready to work with us to market and plan their production and sales based on soil nutrient data that we collect. We are also working with government and soil testing laboratories right now in partnering to do soil tests. The customer discovery was tough, but very helpful. We are excited to implement this new learning that we have from the customer discovery and move forward as a team. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You keep that. Sonali, what would you like to add to that?
So this is an interesting company which is trying to connect technology and create impact. And I was really impressed with the overall arching goal of increasing yield per acre in developing countries, which would trickle down to the families and make a real impact in the economy.
Great. Any other mentors, questions or comments? Wow. You awed the audience or the mentors.
Yeah. What's the plan? Are you gonna move to India to start implementing this, or you're able to do it from here?
We are working with 3,600 farmers in 54 villages already. So we already have a good network there. The local government, state government. So we are already in talks with influential farmers there so that we can scale.
We have 10 field managers back in India who are working directly on field, and we have one of the founders is also over there.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll now welcome our next team, Scott's next team, Parkour.
Hi everyone, we are Parkour, a mobile application engineered to automate, incentivize, and increase the efficiency of parking within structures. As many of you might know, there's a few other parking applications on the market that currently are geared toward parking. So going into customer discovery, we knew we had to separate ourselves from the competition. We began by reaching out to parking management companies such as Republic Parking and Standard Parking to understand their current problems, as well as to stack ourselves up against our competitors. We reached out to over 50 offices across the nation that manage over 5 structures each, and we found that the current problems that they face include payment processing, data analytics, as well as congestion during peak hours. On top of that, we found that our current competitors, Spot Hero and ParkWiz, don't necessarily add value because what they do is they sell unused inventory at a discounted rate. In some of the smaller cities and cities that are experiencing growth, there's actually excess demand for parking. And so Spot Hero and ParkWiz don't really have a market in those particular cities. So what we did was we actually pitched our product to these parking management companies, and we got great feedback. In fact, one of the largest parking management companies in Michigan has agreed to do a beta with our system, and they're going to roll us out within the next 4 to 5 months. On top of that, some of the other parking management companies within Michigan have also agreed to do a beta with us within 2 or 3 months. we also reached out to the owners of these parking structures, such as the Downtown Development Authority, and we got great feedback from them as well. And we think that by leveraging our connections within the owners as well as the management companies, we can really scale this product. So with your help and with the funds from the next round, we are looking to invest into product development and take Parkour to the next level. Thank you.
Scott, what would you like to add about their
Great.
customer discovery process?
Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. You've never seen anyone with more enthusiasm for parking than these guys. And I know there wasn't time to get into what it is and how it works, but it is a really cool solution that they've come up with. And the toughest part of any company is selling it. And the fact that we met less than 2 weeks ago, and in that time, you've already got a customer on the hook for running a pilot with you guys, really shows your ability to go out and hustle. And so my question for you is, in the last 2 weeks after doing all these interviews, what's the biggest lesson you've learned?
I think the biggest lesson that we've learned is to be able to just make phone calls and be able to really reach out. And it gets awkward at sometimes when you're reaching out to total strangers. But when you act as a student and you're trying to learn as much as their business as possible, it really brings a certain connection between you and the potential seller.
Great. Thank you, Parkour. We'll now bring to stage Bill's next team, Go Local.
All right, well, hey everybody, we are excited to be back. We are Go Local. By raise of hands, how many of you have gone on a trip and either fallen into a tourist trap or felt like you didn't get the full experience? All right, quite a few hands. And so do tens of thousands of other people. Travelers are investing up to 40 hours of their time in visiting 38 websites before they book a trip. And more than 50% of the time, they're not having a good experience. But what if you could travel like Anthony Bourdain, go behind the scenes, see all of the undiscovered places? That's exactly what Go Local does. We give travelers access to insider knowledge to enable them to have a great experience. Now, to validate our research, we did extensive customer discovery. More than 30 interviews to gauge traveler preferences, 50 interviews with potential hosts, and more than 175 surveys to gauge feedback on price point. We learned a lot, and we've incorporated it to make sure that our users are satisfied. We'll start by targeting millennials because they're already using mobile in order to get their travel information. Not to mention, they value experiences over anything else. And when it comes to customer motivators, 3 main buckets. Across the board, people are excited about community. They want to meet new people and learn new cultures. And then on the traveler side, they want to be able to have a say in the process, but without the frustration. On the local side, they want a fair monetary reward and the opportunity to be a brand ambassador for their community. So all these factors being said, there's a $2.1 billion addressable market in the United States alone. And more than 60% of people that we talk to would pay between $100 and $250 for a 4-hour Go Local experience. So we're excited about next steps, ramping up our social, partnering for app development, and launching in Detroit in Q2. Remember, go beyond expectations. Go Local.
Bill, what comments do you have about their process and journey here?
So I love this team. You guys work really hard. If you heard their customer discovery numbers, we're over 200, which is phenomenal. So way to go. And the results of your customer discovery, that's what you focus on, what people tell you. And your results that people are willing to pay for the service, they value the service, the percentage of the market that this authentic experience represents are all very, very encouraging. So keep up the hard work.
Thank you.
All right, questions from other mentors. Jake.
Just a quick question. Do you know how this compares to? There's a new product by Airbnb that does something local. If you can explain that to us a little bit in terms of what the difference is and the similarities.
Absolutely. So Airbnb's product is called City Host, and what it is it's prepackaged items. So think of a wine tour that you could do from Groupon. It's nothing that's authentic necessarily to the city. It's not specialized knowledge. It's partnering with organizations that are already in the community, getting them to prepackage an experience exactly like a tourist attraction.
All right. Thank you. We'll now bring out Find Your Ditto, Jake's last team here. Go ahead, Find Your Ditto. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Parisa, and I'm with Find Your Ditto. We connect people living with the same chronic illness to meet in person. So in the past few weeks, we did a lot of interviews of our main 5 stakeholders, and I'm going to focus on the first 3. The first one being university health administrators. And we want to really find out more about their funding structure. And we found that they're collecting most of their money through tuition dollars, and it's about a $3 to $5 increase every single year. And they're putting most of this new funding toward mental health services. And we looked at our healthcare market. This is something that was very highly regulated, so we're going to wait on that. But we found that having clinical partners will help us be able to enter this market quickly, and with Wayne State, they're willing to partner with us on our first few pilots and invited us to their endocrinology grand rounds in the coming weeks. Students living with chronic illness, most of these are mental health issues, and the biggest problems that we're finding are they know that there are current resources, but there's stigma, accessibility issues, and overall negative experiences with the current systems. This is something that they want something completely different from their university. So we know that there's a growing demand for mental health resources. So we're shifting more than just we're attacking chronic illness. When we're going to universities, it's mental health. And we know that they have the budget, universities have the budget, and we have more pricing specifics to really, as we're moving forward in our contract discussions, to leverage that, because we know they have the budget but don't know what to put it for. And there's an increased need for peer support. So that's what we're really targeting. So this was a very insightful past few weeks. We're Find Your Ditto. Thank you very much.
Thank you. After that update, Jake, what would you like to share?
I think it's interesting when, it's rare, but interesting when you can find a business model where you can do well while doing good, as you say. Like the idea of making this a nonprofit, if you wanted to, you can make this as a nonprofit and you can go help people who are struggling find support within their support groups. But the fact that you're able to find a business model that can make that sustainable, so you're not always out there raising money from foundations and you can turn into a business, I think is a really interesting model, and it allows you to bring your passion to a for-profit business. So I think that's a really, really amazing thing.
Great. Comments from other mentors or questions?
With 30,000 students in a university and surprising large percentage with chronic illness, and if you're able to make their lives slightly better and reduce dropout rate, how much money can you potentially save universities?
Yeah, 64% of dropout rates are due to mental health reasons. Universities are losing millions of dollars every year because of this. So if we even stop one dropout, that can be thousands of dollars for the university.
All right. Thank you. All right, and the final team that we're bringing to the stage today is one of Bill's teams. It's Edible. Welcome, Edible.
Okay, by a show of hands, who here knows somebody with a dietary restriction or food allergy? That is because 1 in 5 Americans have one. Over the past few weeks, we went and spoke to over 115 different students, 23% of which had some sort of dietary restriction. When we asked them how they dealt with it, they said, I just don't eat out. And for those people, Edible solves a huge problem that they face from a day-to-day basis. Let's hear from them now. Play video.
All right, so the Edible project is available to download as of today on Android and iOS, and feel free to use our Snapchat filter that's available right now in this room. Thank you guys.
All right, Bill.
All right, team, I'm going to help you out here. First of all, you have pilots already. Tios has said yes to you. You have people lined up to participate in this. The other thing they're doing, and they didn't actually say this, is they're flipping this whole model on its head. So as a reluctant vegan, I no longer have to visit every restaurant's website in Ann Arbor and figure out what's vegan. They just serve to me all the dishes that are relevant to me, then I see what restaurants they're at. So I think it's really clever what you're doing.
Thank you, Bill.
Any other comments, questions?
One person once told me, when a college student comes to me with a business idea, it's going to be an app and it's going to be a restaurant app. So with all these restaurants being approached by potential app companies, how have you found that as you being able to convince them to use your app instead of all the other students that came up to?
Yeah, that's something we get a lot. So that's the main thing we're focusing on. Should I talk now, or I don't think I can talk anymore.
All right. Oh, let me set this down here real quickly. All right, so every good parent knows that you should never have a favorite child, but unfortunately, we are forcing the mentors to be less than good parents. And for this next part, they are all going to have to pick their one team that gets automatically advanced to the next round. And after they pick their 4 teams, as I mentioned before, your vote will then count. So let's begin with Jake.
So is this where I kind of go through and say how hard this is going to be and how I love everybody equally?
That's exactly this time.
No, this is a really difficult decision, and I'm hoping that all my teams get through the next round somehow, some way. But, oh man, I'm actually just going to decide right now because I really don't have an answer. All right, I'm going to go with the team that I thought put a really good presentation today together. And so I'm going to go with Morning Brew.
All right, welcome Morning Brew. Morning Brew, you can come up to the stage. And while Austin's coming up to the stage, Bill.
So for the record, they didn't tell us this is how this worked when we said yes as a judge. So reluctantly, all my teams did great. It's really hard to choose, but based on the presentation and based on what I see as sort of answered questions versus unanswered questions, I'm going to choose my card for Go Local.
Congratulations, Go Local. Welcome. Scott.
Well, I originally figured I would just tell all my teams to show as much hustle as they could over the next 2 weeks, and then I'd just pick the one that showed the most, and I assumed 2 of the teams wouldn't do anything and 1 would, and I'd just pick that one. Unfortunately, they all hustled a lot over the last 2 weeks. So now I'm going to go with the one that I think the audience will vote for in the finals, which would be AimTech.
AimTech, welcome. Congratulations, AimTech. And Sonali?
Do I have to?
You have to.
Wow. So, I think everyone has done a wonderful job. All the teams that have been picked already here and the ones that are waiting their fate for the next round. To add from my lot, I think I will put in Grassroots.
Grassroots, congratulations. Okay, so now we have about a minute or 2 left. If you already hit that link that you just saw pop up on the screen, you need to refresh it because it is now updated without these 4 teams here. And you will then need to pick up to 4 teams to vote for to advance to the next round. And you have about 1 minute while that survey is open. Here you go. Here's the link, bit.ly/TSU2R. So the startup, second round, that's all lowercase or it won't work. All right, and so as I call out these 4 startups, We welcome you to come up to the stage as well. Edible. Welcome, Edible. Kulisha. Congratulations, Kulisha.
All right. Whoa, real nice. This is not bad.
Cherivu. Congratulations. And the last team going on to our next round is Kraken. Congratulations, Kraken. All right, thank you. And that wraps up today's session and the second round of the startup.